This is a note for myself after reading the chapter one of my teacher's PowerPoint, and after watching their video. I'm quite glad that every I'm quite glad that course, every PPT PowerPoint, my teacher will have a video to explain about what has been explained in the PowerPoint. I find that it is quite useful. Instead of asking me just to read a very thick book, the teacher will have a PowerPoint with slides to outline all the important points that I should focus my energy on, because there are several papers to be done. So I think this way it is more efficient. I quite like it, um, the way the teacher is offering in the course. In the first video, the teacher mentioned about what they call introduction. I will have one main convener. Um, the convener, it means the teacher, the lead teacher who will convening the whole course. Um, but there will be also other three teachers who will help us to to explain some of the chapters, as well as to guide us through the research project. It is my understanding that my convener, John, has a lot of experience, um, both academic and in real business. So it is I'm quite happy to have such a good convener for this course. And in the introduction, John mentioned that if we as students have any question, we can post that into Model. Model is a software uh, online application that the University of Waikato use for us students. So there is a discussion forum that where we can ask questions. Uh, the teacher mentioned that the point is, if we have some question and if some other students know the answer, and he or she may just reply to it, and all these questions and answers will be beneficial for other students as well. So that's the preferred communication through model. The second point the teacher mentioned is about the research project. The paper I'm doing is called Applied Research Method and Project. So basically, there will be some writing involved. It will be 50 points of, they have different sections, different stages to give me a score. So the final paper will count 50%. So that's quite important. Right now, I have no clue how to write a research paper. The teacher mentioned, I raised the question of what is a research project? A research project, and what kind of report we should produce. They mentioned they have given us some directions to work on. For example, e-marketing, I guess that would be PPC, pay per click, online advertising, or social marketing, or even search engine optimization, SEO, and logistics, sending products from maybe one place to another, even one country to another, to uh, fund some do a research over that. Uh, they also mention an area called online accounting. Like in our organization, we use Zero. Probably, that could be one of the directions that you can if you haven't used any kind of online accounting software, probably want to use one, or if you have already used one, you want to find out what the problems you currently still facing now. They mentioned that the research project has to be within a real organization. So it can't be a fake company. It has to be related with the digital business aspect of the organization. The third point is business research. The business research, we were given a book that business research for 21st century. My teacher has mentioned it several places using the term here et al. My understanding is here is the leading author of the book, but this book is also co-authored by many other people. Maybe et al refer to other authors. So when he mentioned here at L, he probably just referred to that book. This is all quite new for me. And the teacher mentioned that we need to finish chapter one and chapter two of the book. Through Moodle, we are able to download it to view the online version, and we'll also be able to get the printed version, the PDF version, just print it locally. To be honest, it's quite overwhelming. It's full of text. If the teacher don't give you any guidance, I think that would be quite overwhelming. This is only the first chapter, and that would be about 30 pages. It's quite a lot of information. So we need to read chapter one and chapter two with the help of the teacher's PowerPoint slides. We can get some basic knowledge about business research. For the business research, the teacher mentioned a process. The first one he mentioned is analysis. The second term he mentioned is synthesis. Synthesis. I think it's pronounced as synthesis. I'm not quite sure. Haven't checked on the dictionary yet. I have never used this word, synthesis. Okay. They used a example of they used an example of a car, or maybe I can use another example like this toy helicopter. To do an analysis, we have to understand that uh, like how to say we remove every part from the whole helicopter, and we try to understand how how it works how it works so that it can fly. Synthesis, according to my understanding, is that we need to figure out the different parts. For example, this fine. Okay, uh, should that be the term fine, FAN, or propeller? Okay, for this part of the helicopter, I need to understand why why on top of that they have this plastic stick. Is that to maintain a balance? And like for example, this part at the rear, would that be used to move the direction? Why it is there? Yeah, And the rear part belongs to maybe a controlling direction controlling system and why it can help to control the direction. So that direction would be synthesis to understand which part this small part belongs to, which bigger part, which the smaller part belong to, and why. The analysis is just to understand how many parts are are making up this helicopter. I hope my understanding is correct. So the paper will be 1,000 words, 10,000 words. The teacher mentioned 1.5 pixel line height, and the font size is 12. It seems that the teacher don't want us to write more than 10,000. I find it quite challenging to write that many words. It will be a difficult task for me. The fifth, the fifth point teacher mentioned is about applied business research. There are two methods, and also the sixth one is feasibility of the project. I have made notes about them. Let me try to figure out. I still can find out what it means. So, business research. So, business research have to make a correct decision to make it a useful decision. The purpose of business research is to make a correct decision. So, in a business world, the management can make many decisions, but based on a solid business research, that they tend to make a correct decision. But the correct decision has to be the correct decision has to be based on correct information. So logging information is quite important to form a report and to make a good decision. The teacher mentioned knowledge network, and I also mentioned machine economy. I think he mentioned about farming, then industrial, then I think now it is a knowledge economy and network economy. People are connecting each other, connecting with each other. It's like like this. I'm learning a a degree from a university from home in front of a computer. So that's based on network, the connectability. He also point out that in the future it will be machine economy, something like automatic taxi driver, I think, or automatic delivery of your pizza. So it's a machine controlled by a more sophisticated coding or system that make it automatic and generate enormous value. I am not sure which part that was from, but that is what I remember. And oh, for the notes, the difference method, ana- analysis and synthesis. Analysis, he mentioned a word called reductionist. Reductionist is to segregate a complicated part into smaller pieces. Reductionist. So that's the notes I have. We, I need to find find a project. I need to have a proposal that needs to be approved by one of the teachers. If I can't find a business organization to do a business report, the teacher mentioned a path to. A path to is based on reading and doing research from the textbook. For that one, the writing is only 6,500 words, and also need to submit business proposal and join the online discussion. I hope that I can find I can they can approve what I'm going to do. I think now I already have an idea. The next one, staff matter, distance, time, customization, people. Um, the the teacher mentioned compared to a long time ago, right now, what is more and what is less. He mentioned that stuff and matter less. I didn't get that one. He mentioned distance matter less. That makes sense to me because no matter where you are, if you have internet, if you have Zoom, you're connected. Time. Oh, he mentioned that in this world, time is now more precious. Like everybody is busier, and the time is more precious. A more precious factor. Customization is more complicated. I think that makes sense. Like because people's time is more precious, and to spend more time to customize something for you, and will be more will be more value, and people matters more. Maybe he referred to labor cost. People matter more. Uh, other means CRM. Um, well, I don't know what that mean, but that knows mean. Okay, so the purpose of he mentioned that more market, so selling something at one market and something selling you will, it's like Amazon. You can sell in Australia, you can also sell in the US, Canada. They help you, they make it easier to sell globally. Globalization. Oh, this is the direction of the research. I mentioned the network marketing, network marketing, business and people, which means business and people. He mentioned that, for example, if if a business has a very good relationship with its customer, uh, to understand the needs of the customer, have the feedback, and maybe have a very good interaction, and it would be good for the business. The other point he mentioned is about the information revolution, organizational study, and data mining. Um, that he has given an example that uh, I want to use my own example. Is like sometimes if you spend if you if you log in your your Apple account somewhere, and then Apple instantly push you a notification to your phone that your your ID is being used somewhere. Do you want to approve it? If you press yes, then the other login session will be approved. So this kind of information revolution was never thinkable maybe 100 years ago or 50 years ago, but right now that's very common. So there will be more information revolution in the future. The teacher compared uh, two kinds of researched people is internal and external. The external consultants will be more professional, will be more objective, and they bring a fresh mind to the business. The internal advisors will be able to assemble the data and information more quickly, and in some cases, the staff can communicate with each other better. It will definitely be a lower cost, and you can follow up with a specific colleague for the report. But for external report, once that's done, it's money paid, and that's the end of the research. On the top, I have notes here. Find the real reason. Oh, that's about writing a research project. The teacher is talking about. Okay, I try to not read my notes, but to read that and find read that and talk in my own way. Okay, that's to find a real problem. Just for example, if I'm running a restaurant, but right now, if suddenly I have a lot of customers coming into my shop, into my restaurant, I need to find out the reason, the reason of that, um, the true reason. It can't be a very obvious reason. I have to find out the underneath it, the real reason. Uh, One of the method is to talk with people, to interact with people. It can be formal, like ask people to complete a survey, or informal, it's like chatting with people and collecting data to collecting data, and also to understand a system. Understand is a system. Um, so it's like this helicopter again. To understand, like if I take them apart, they won't be flying. Even this helicopter is still good, but I have lost the remote control, and that's a big problem. They have to work together. They respond with each other, so this helicopter can fly in the air. And also, it has to be you need the charger, the charger remote, and a good helicopter. Then it can fly. So there are internal relationships I have to figure out. It's just like that for the business report. And for what I have found, it has to be uh, re replicable. Replicable just means that it can be redone and be able to find the same result. So it means it is real, it is true, it is correct. And that finding has to be have some value, because if you provide a report for a restaurant, it has no value, and they probably won't even bother to look at it. So the application and application, so a specific application and general specific application and general normal research. I forgot what that means now. But overall, so that report has to be. I'm thinking to talk about a online business of mine that I'm selling in New Zealand, and I have sold more than maybe 150 orders now, but the return rate is very low. Um, However, that product is selling in other countries, in other destinations. They are doing fine. Every day I'm getting orders, but in New Zealand, I'm not getting that. I'm planning to talk to my previous buyers, to either call them or provide a survey to find out what is the reason why they are not. buying again? Is it the quality of the product? Is it because I'm not connecting with them? Is it because they have a substitute product? Or is it because the product they've been using and they haven't finished it? Or is it because they were buying it simply because of the social media marketing I was doing at that time, but now I'm not connecting with the social influencer now, and they're not marketing this product in New Zealand now, and so people are not buying it. Or could be just people can't find me now, they can't find my website now, or they have found the same product at another place at a cheaper price. So there's different directions, and I plan to give my customers some incentives, some free product in exchange for their time to chat with me. I will gather data from them and try to understand what has caused the decline of that product selling in New Zealand. Um, I will I will try to fix that problem. For example, in having a good CRM system, just to understand who has ordered, who hasn't, maybe just to approach my old customer frequently so that it can increase sales. Because getting a new customer is already very expensive. It is generally a lot cheaper to let old customers to buy again. So that's going to be my business research, and I have to project research. I have to do a proposal, um, and sub that to my teacher. I hope they will be able to approve it. So that's the page one of my notes. The second one is about the research process at chapter two, and the process is a theory. So a proposal. So there is a proposal. So there will be a proposal, applied research, and feasibility. Uh, okay, okay. Um, for the applied research, there are two directions. One direction is focusing on now. That is what I have just mentioned, my current problem of that product. That it is not doing as well as before. Right now, it is declining in New Zealand sales. The other issue of looking at a business research is about future. For example, if I'm a the work for the manufacturer of Huawei, they produce phones. If they're doing very well now, uh, the one of the directions is to do research and find out what can be done, what actions can be done to improve future sales, or what potential problems our company could face if we don't react now. The problems will happen in the future. So that's the two directions of the research proposal. Is one is focusing on now, what's the problem, or to focus on the future. And no matter which direction, the very important one is the feasibility. The, so it is obvious that if I want to do if I give a bold proposal that I'm going to interview every NZX top 50 companies CEO, that's obviously not feasible because probably through uh, I can't get through any of their receptionists to be able to talk to them. So that will be not feasible. So for applied business research, it can be short, quick, concise, and it has a value for the managers. There are three process for the business research. The first one is foundation. So um, let me quickly go through the process foundation. Okay, so three: foundation, execution, and analysis. Whether or not it is necessary to do the research, so that research has to be practical, has to respond to an urgency need of that company. If that is something the managers think it is a time wasting project, probably not a good idea. Have to describe the problem, describe the issue and its background, and have to be able to raise some questions and answers. I think it's probably like the word hypothesis, to have to raise some hypothetical questions about the situation and its solutions. And what we are going to do to design how what we're going to do and how we are going to do it. It's like what I just mentioned about my products. I have 100 orders. I have their email and phone. Um, what I'm planning to do is approach them by email to ask them that whether they are happy to join my short survey. Maybe I use an online survey email marketing email app to send them the question whether they are happy to take their time to respond to the questions. And if they do, I'm going to give them maybe a free product as an incentive. So so that's to form the topic for the business. That's the business proposal part. So form that question to make sure it is useful, necessary, and I need to be able to read, to be able to describe exactly what the problem is, to explain the background, the general background. Uh, I have to be able to read some questions for myself, for my customers in that survey, to be able to clear how I'm going to do it, and what I'm going to do, and how I'm going to do it, and probably how much time it's going to take, how much money it's going to cost, because you're giving people incentives, the product cost and the cost of calling and the time, etc. And also I have to be able to finish it because this is a it's not a academic research, but it's applied business report. The second one is about execution about so that's that's collect the data. So for example, if I'm calling someone and they're happy to talk with me, have a chat, informal, that's informal chat. I take notes and probably I even inform them that I maybe I doing a recording so that I can I can prove that I have called someone. So I will need to collect data, uh, process them because every people give different answers. I need to process their 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 answers, and I need to store the data safely because it involves other people's personal details. I have to make sure that I follow all the privacy policy. The third part is to analyze the data to understand it. I also need to make common sense whether people are giving me the right information. For example, sometimes if you ask your customer, would you like to order with me again? On the phone, the customer probably say, yeah, I'll buy from you. But probably will never hear back from them again. So I have to make a logical judgment whether the data I collected makes sense or not, whether it has any limitations. I have to make sure the report is concise and short to prepare it. So that's the three process of a business report. And the teacher mentioned about three theories. Well, that's quite interesting. The first one is be careful. How I should. I had a note careful and competition, work on the process of someone else. Um, I'm not sure why I have a note careful competition, but I remember the third one that use the existing findings of someone else to use that to help myself as part of the theory. And he draw a circle. He mentioned about the supplier's buying power, the client's buying power, the substitute of a product, and whether you have any new competitors. That's quite interesting. Yeah, because sometimes if you have a lot of customers, they are buying in a group, for example, in a Facebook group, they approach a vendor, they probably will have a more buying power. And if you are the sole seller of a product, you probably get you will have a lot of orders. But if there are many people competing with you, there are new players in the market. The the clients have choice to purchase somewhere else, or even worse is your product can be easily substituted by another product, so people are not bothered to buy again. And so that's the suppliers. Back to that theory, suppliers buying power and the customers buying power. Suppliers buying power, I think that is easy to understand as well, because if I ship all the if I send all the products by FedEx from China to New Zealand, it would be obviously very expensive. I would not be able to reduce the price. However, if I ship a, a half a container or even 200 kg, 300 kg of the products by ocean freight, and the cost of freight will drop significantly, I'll be able to pass that saving to my customer. So that's theory one. And theory two is about is whether it is a normal theory, whether it is wise. What does that mean? Whether a theory is a normal, could there be something not normal, not wise? Hmm. And he mentioned about correlation and causation. Correlation, causation. I think I saw this somewhere else. Um, Let me try to explain to myself about this. Correlation means A and B, they are related, um, but they don't cause each other. Maybe, maybe something like there will causing each other. Okay, correlation one and B. Maybe flooding are related with property damage. Yeah, are related, but they don't necessarily cause the other. So there will be a flooding. It doesn't mean for sure the property will be damaged, because there is a chance that the flooding went away from another direction. Could that be the correct understanding of correlation and causation? I have to figure that out. But what does that to do has to do with my paper? Why do I have notes about that? Oh, I think this is from the textbook. They have a cartoon illustration about two kids are quarreling with each other, and the parents came and asked them why they would be quarreling with each other. The children saying, "You are talking that way, and we are learning from you." So theory three. So that's interesting. Theory one mentioned about the circle, the buying power, and the second one, whether the theory is normal, and the third theory is about about the children. Interesting. Okay. Anyway, I have a new chapter. I think this is from one of the slide. Oh, the teacher raised about some um, different questions about scientific research and business research. So it has a triangle. Okay. I think that's probably the same. So first you observe, you find the problem, you raise the question, you raise the question, you describe it, you collect data, talk with people, you analyze it, and you have a finding. So that's a tunnel of funnel of the process. So question, you test, you validate your data, okay. And the teacher mentioned two research method: inductive and deductive. That's quite fancy words for me. Okay. So, um, inductive is the normal way that you first observe a problem, you collect, yeah, you summarize it, you give, you summarize it, you give a proposal, you give recommendation, paradigm. So you provide, so you go to paradigm, you go to, you give solution recommendation to the management. So that's inductive, inductive. Okay, inductive. 归纳 in Chinese. Okay, inductive. The other way is deductive. Deductive is like deduction. It's like deduct a number from another number. Deduction. Okay. So the teacher, so that is, you have a theory, then theory validated, um, you estimate it, you experiment it. So so you have a theory first, a theory, and then you you estimate, you estimate what? Hmm. I need to go back to the textbook to understand that. And to do research, that's quite interesting. Yeah, I don't understand what that is. So for deductive, yeah. So next is about business proposal. Business proposal, why it is useful, and what it needs to be done. So it needs to have a title, as a background to explain the background of the situation, to raise the question and research objectives. What we are going to do. Um, okay, so the title is is what you are going to do. The background is about why we are doing it, and the question and research objectives is how we are going to do it. Research strategy and methodology is is how exactly we are going to complete that, and by when we are going to finish it. In the last, we produced a report. Uh, we mentioned the report type, and to produce the report and mention how much it's going to cost and what's the value. That proposal sounds like not for a teacher, but for a real organization, a real company boss. Maybe it's something like, you're not getting organic traffic from search engines, yeah. And the background is, if you only spend money on paid advertising, which is super expensive, and people sometimes don't trust ads as much as the organic listings. So in that background, we're going to find out what is the problem, uh, why the website don't have any free organic traffic from the website, and how we are going to make the website to get organic traffic. And we're going to um, list the strategies and methods we're going to use to analyze the problem, how long that's going to take, and how much money that's going to cost you, and what kind of report we're going to produce, and what solutions we're going to give you. also about the time and estimate, and also about the qualifications of the research teams. So once the boss has that business research project proposal, he will be able to decide whether to approve it or bypass it. Interesting. So that's the end of the chapter 2. Then I have, let me just take a look. Okay, still some about two research. Okay, about business research method. One is to research about the problem now. The other is a problem of future. The teacher mentioned that for new people to the company, if you can write a good business research project, your boss will be impressed, and probably you have a so that's a good way to get into the company. Interesting, they mention this. Yeah, so the two research method, the teacher has given a more detailed instruction about it. Um, the problem has to be something that repeating. That's always repeating. For example, for example, let me see whether I can remember it. A product is not selling suddenly. That's what I have mentioned. Uh, the workers get injured very often, or the workers are not happy. The turnover is very high. They leave the job very often. Um, they let me think. I'm trying to think. The problems. The staff are not happy, and they leave the company. It's not safe. The product is not selling well. Yeah, or the quality, always get complaint about the quality of the product. Yeah, that's quite interesting. Probably I need to include that product quality question into my survey. Ask people, you're not buying it. Is it because you're not happy with the quality of the product? Okay, so it's something. Another research direction is about the future. The teacher giving some examples, like to do a research to recommend a company invest in a software, or an app, or an online system, or ERP or CRM system, so that it can help the company to grow, or to sell on Amazon, sell on a new marketplace, right? Or if you were selling only in New Zealand, now you sell on Amazon. Australia, USA, sell different across border. Or if you are a manufacturer, you can refurbish the plant. You can buy more advanced equipment. Uh, if the cost of making these goods are very high, you can recommend the company to relocate some of the productions overseas. So it's kind of so it's a list of things of the future actions of the future actions. The teacher mentioned that for future type of for future type the data from the company will be not much, because it's something in the future. You can gather very little information, um, and yeah, and some data you can obtain that externally. It's like it's like if you do import and export, you can check the for example, you can check some of the export trading data, which is available online, with a fee, that you can find out what companies are importing that product. For example, I'm selling a kind of product is enzymes, is bromelain. I can check in the US who is buying bromelain, and if the market is very big in the US and in a particular areas, I can approach resellers in that region to cover that market. So that's external data. So also can do when do these kind of future research can check online to find a report from existing discoveries to use that in the report. Yeah. In the report needs to mention about the cost of the new action, the benefits and also the risks. Yeah, sometimes for example an IT upgrade, it can be risky because all of your staff have been used to a software, but all of a sudden you have to switch to another software. It may, in a short period of time, reduce efficiency or even a data breach because people maybe, for example, a default account has not changed password. Yeah, and people are not used to it. They don't know they need to change password for that system. It can cause data breach. So when we write about the future driven report, we can mention about the cost, the benefits, and also the risks. We give people exact proposals and steps. They they research and they research. The teacher mentioned that there are academic research that done by professional academic scholars. They have a lot of time. But now we are doing is applied research. We are facing very stressed or even very busy or just a very busy frontline managers. E- Especially during the COVID-19 period, people have to juggle between different things. They have to complete their tasks and also to take care of the well-being of their workers, taking care of their supply chain issue. And now you are trying to get information from them. You can be treated as a time waster. So it's important that um, understand the difference. Don't make it too academic. Don't just copy Google. Try to talk to real people and get some real information. The teacher mentioned action and succinct. I'm not sure what that means. This word. Okay, so the next one is yeah, just don't only do survey. Apparently, survey is important, but no, don't only do survey. Also talk with the people. Yeah, give suggestions. The feasibility is important. The feasibility is to explain whether that's doable, whether you will be able to find valuable discoveries and that will provide value to the organization. Need to find out to be able to uncover actions, steps, strategies that the organization can use to improve their efficiency, productivity, and turnover. It has to be necessary. So it's like maybe what is can I think about an unnecessary business report? Maybe it is a retail store and you ask them whether or not COVID-19 has an impact to your retail store. Yeah, that's useless, right? It's very obvious that COVID-19 has a very big bad impact on a tourism retail store. If the owner owns several a chain of retail stores, and you approach him and ask him, we're going to do a research about the negative impact of COVID-19 to your business. The boss probably don't want to bother. we bypass that. But if you are saying during this period, how a retail store can transform and retain the business, grow the business, find new revenue stream based on your existing manpower and inventory and supply chain strength. And that would be quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And okay, okay. So it will need to be able to do business research. Need to be a lot a lot of observations. So it can only be so if I am only able to talk with one, probably it's not going to be a very successful project. But if I can talk to 10, 20, the top 20 or top five tourism retail chain in New Zealand to find the problem, to discover how they can make use their existing power business structure to transform to another dimension to gain revenue, and that would be very interesting. So you to talk not only one but a lot. You to be able to find a motivation for these managers to be able to talk to me, and the some data received are biased because some people don't want to make you feel bad. They just say yes, that's right, but you have to use common sense to think that data whether it is valid or not. So some people may not want to give business researches to get involved into business research is they're too busy, or they don't want to give out their sensitive business data, or they don't want to change, or they are forced by their employers to talk to you. They are actually not happy. So yeah, or some people think it's just unnecessary. So that's the disadvantages, could be the challenges facing in doing business research. So that's all for my notes, the chapter one. Yeah. So um, introduction, the teacher gives them introduction, business project, research project. It's given three, um, one, two, three, from formation, collecting data, analyze them, business business research about um, two directions, focusing on now or focusing on future, research process about the funnel, or inductive and deductive. I'm still quite confused about that too. I probably need to figure out. And applied research, business research has to be necessary. Has to be there are two kinds, yeah. And the project feasibility, whether it is feasible to do the business research. And that's all for the chapter, the section one.